Good evening. You are listening to the Pod Squadron podcast. All wings report in. This is Pod Leader standing by.
Pod Leader. Ooh.
It's not scrolling, so I'm like, crap.
I mean, you kind of are our fearless leader.
Pod Chief.
Pod something. Yeah. Shoot.
Well, this is Pod Tracer standing by. I don't know why I did that.
I liked it. It was very Tracy, and the Y is exactly where you think. Pod 1 standing by.
Children of the Lesser Pod standing by.
And luckily, I have stopped freezing. Oh, great. All ships to attack formation. Mission objectives to talk about Star Wars in movies, streaming, animation, books, themed experiences, and your art and inspiration from the galaxy far, far away. Today's flight plan includes The Bad Batch, and we're catching up a little bit with episode 13, Pabu, and episode 14, Pabu. The Tipping Point. That is fun to say. Pabu.
Hey, you remember a couple weeks ago when we were trying to figure out what it was in reference to? And we were like, well, maybe it's this. And I was like, I think it's a location.
Yeah. You win.
I do. I
win a no prize.
I still feel good about it.
And of course, we're also going to be catching up on The Mandalorian episodes 3 and 4, The Convert and The Foundling. And of course, there's some upcoming Star Wars news. We're going to tap a little bit into that, but there's going to be a lot of news. Honestly, we are coming up on Star Wars Celebration very soon, so there will be a ton of news in the beginning of April. So we're just going to touch on that and what's coming up as we move.
I like it when you tap that, Andy.
Tap it. Hi. And for all of you out there, all comm channels are open. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Find us on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you know when we have new content. You know, all the things that we all of our, like,
All the things.
all the lot of us keep talking about.
Oh my gosh. Lexi just over here eating like amazing looking food, making us all hungry. All I have is alcohol.
Pod Squadron,
there's-
now with more meat.
Proud of your meat.
Pod Squadron, be proud of your meat. But first, I'll be your squad leader for today. I'm Andy Lowe, aka the Chinese Pirate, director, storyteller, puppeteer, performer, and fight choreographer. On my wing is Tracy.
Hi, I'm Tracy. According to the chat, I'm just a farmer now. That's all I do. Just a farmer.
Yes.
I didn't even go to WonderCon. I was farming all weekend.
Moisture farming.
Oh, I wish. Oh, that'd be... Well, actually, kind of, yeah, because I've got 6 full rain barrels right now and a cooler that was getting the overflow.
I was going to say, there's not much moisture that needs to be farmed at this point.
I know.
There's plenty.
It's going to get me through the summer, let me tell you.
And on my other wing is Lexi.
Lexi, hey guys. Right now I'm a very tired caterer, and I'm about to start my farming stuff. It's all got to be started indoors because it snowed this morning, so I have to start everything in the garage. And multidisciplinary artist. I still get out there and I do aerials sometimes, and post the occasional cosplay. I might have a new one this year. I mean, old cosplay.
Ooh.
What is it?
Shivani from Steven Universe gonna do aerial with it.
Ah.
I have the little glowy gem for my stomach and everything. So excited. I just got to figure out how to get it to stay, the gem to stay on while I'm in the air.
Very
Super glue. I don't know.
And then, of course, holding down our rear flank is Jason.
Holding down the rear is me. And
Yes.
I have not
Very-
been
also
farming, but I
proud of
have
your
been
meat.
watching Farmer Wants a Wife, and I'm not proud of it.
Wait, that's a thing? No, is that
It's
a thing?
reality show, yes. And
Okay, on what station?
it's on Fox.
Oh, I don't have
Okay.
cable.
Well, it's on streaming too. It's on Hulu. So,
Your head is right in Bo-Katan's lap.
hey,
Just
It's a great
saying.
place to be.
Hi.
proud of my meat. What? I don't know what the hell. Sorry, but yes, you should watch it so you can curse these idiots' names, because that's what I do. I'm like, what?
I
Farmers,
know-
city girls.
I
Enough
don't
of
like
that.
I don't like most reality shows. But
I don't
there's-
either, but
every
you'll
once in
love
a
to
while
hate
there's...
this, so I highly recommend.
Really?
it. Yeah,
I'll check it out.
absolutely.
I can't promise I'll stick with it, but I'll check it out.
That's fine. Watch the first one. If not, then back to Mando. So.
All right. And of course, we're just one squad in the fleet. We're part of the Geekish Network. That's right here on YouTube and on Facebook, the Geekish Network. Come check out all the other hilarity and fun and frivolity. that we all
Come check out
contribute.
their meat.
Come check out the
Oh man, we're down.
A running gag. As foils to attack position, we're going in. So we got a lot
That's
to
what
talk
she
about.
said.
We got a lot to talk about today, so we're going to start off with a little bit of news. And I have not actually read this yet, but we got some news about the Acolyte. Jodie Turner-Smith did an interview about Leslie Headland's new High Republic-based series that is in production and starting filming soon, I believe. But as I try to talk and read
Wait,
ahead,
Is
at
this
the
the
same
same
time.
one that would have been a Cara Dune show? If
No.
She...
So
Oh,
this
okay.
is based during the High Republic time. This is
High
supposed to be
Republic. Sorry.
This is supposed to be the first dark side focused series.
Yeah, so like an Asajj Ventress type character based on the fact that it's called the Acolyte.
That's right. I remember this now.
And so yeah, there. Let's see here. Let's hear a quote from her. Obviously, the subject matter is different. It's different when everything that you're doing is lighthearted, and that's not what I was doing for Star Wars. But I was working with my favorite director that I've worked with so far, Kaganada. Kaganata and under the leadership of Leslie Headland. It is incredible to see. I can't wait to see how this show turns out. Yeah, I mean, we've only seen a couple of bits of this, right? There was a photo that was leaked that showed, I think, Leslie Headland along with the actor from what was it, from Squid Games, who is also playing a role in this, right?
Oh.
But yeah, I believe they've started production on this already. So I mean, this will be very interesting to see. And you know, particularly we've seen some different tones now that we've seen Andor. We're coming back to the Mandalorian and going, oh, that's right. This is all wacky too.
There are some amazing shows coming out of South Korea. I mean, I know everybody got on the Squid Game bandwagon, but even prior to that, there was like that monster show. I mean, they produce some amazing programming. That is
their whole
insanely creative
entertainment industry, has seen quite a international boom the last 10, 20 years, which is interesting because it's pretty much they kind of filled the spot as the Hong Kong production kind of petered out post Hong Kong being taken back to China. It's interesting.
I mean, I could go into a whole other thing about Korean entertainment. But we have 4 episodes to get through today, so I'm not going to do that.
So do check this out. There is more news. You can look at this interview with her. We found this on Collider, so check out collider.com as they did this interview with Jodie Smith. I believe there's a video as well, so check that out. Also, there was an announcement for Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures. This is debuting basically this coming May 4th on Disney Plus. And
Is this animated or is this like a young Indiana Jones?
No, it's like,
no, this is animated. It appears to be a young audience's Jedi Padawan animated series.
High Republic. Another High Republic.
Is it High Republic?
I believe it's High Republic, based off of what, I don't even remember where I read it, but I think so. And then like their poster, the ship designs look like High Republic ships.
Oh, interesting.
Which is great because they figured out a way to give kids characters they could interact with without getting them Order 66.
That is definitely...
It's pre-Order 66, isn't it?
Yeah, Anakin's not even alive yet, so
right.
So
they can't even count to 66, so it's all.
Can't even count. It's fine, yeah. But no,
but it looks like Yoda is in this still, though. Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that they did that because they can keep like an element of familiarity by having Yoda be. I mean, I guess he'd be younger in this.
A younger Yoda.
Yeah. So kind of cool. I mean, I saw predictably some of the fandom menace whining about it, like, oh no, God forbid a franchise started for children make material for children.
You know, I would have been like suspicious of that prior to Clone Wars. I feel like the Clone Wars made the prequels better. Does that make sense?
Agreed. Absolutely.
Like it filled in so many of those gaps in the like the relationship context, in the political context, and the trade route context. Like it just sort of
it built up Anakin's arc as opposed to just like I got really cranky and decided that a bunch of kids should die, you know?
Right.
Well, and
because
it's funny
sand.
too. Things we're going to get into later today, but it seems like Dave Filoni might you can see him starting to palm his hand a little bit as he seems to be trying to do some of the same for the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
it's like he's trying to set up for the sequels, for the creation of the First Order, right?
Indeed.
And the cloning tech for Palpatine, you know, because like that wasn't fleshed out.
There's the cart. There it is now. Rodney put it up.
Somehow he came back.
Oh, hey, look, there's a clip.
Look at that little Bebo guy from Legends of Tomorrow.
Bebo, he's totally Bebo.
Bebo.
Oh God, that's such a great reference.
Bebo.
Yeah, I don't know if it's obscure. It's obscure enough that only a handful of people
I'm not
know
kidding. Look, Andy,
what
it's Bebo.
It totally looks like Bebo. He's blue
And Bebo.
and fuzzy and cute.
DC's gonna be suing someone.
And a lightsaber droid that flies. That
Yep.
looks frightening, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, and
That
a
would
little
be-
critter.
Yeah. So this appears to be, as you can see, it's very, for younger audiences. It looks very cute, adorable, and fun. Probably in the tradition of the Ewok Adventures, if you remember that in the 80s.
Or those Groot shorts.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So yeah, this will be worth checking out. There is a trailer online, so you can see more of that clip if you check that out on YouTube. And of course, it seems that we do have more of our longtime Star Wars friends like D. Bradley Baker, and some other voice actors, longtime voice actors, not new to Star Wars, that are coming back. So check this out. Oh, it's also apparently a collaboration with Wild Canary. Let's see here. The showrunner was the guy who did Puppy Dog Pals. So if that
I have
kinda
no
gives
idea
you
what that is.
a
I
sense
just
of
know
what
kids
the,
loved it.
Yeah.
What is Puppy Dog Pals?
I don't know much
another
about it.
small
Got these
small
little
kid show.
puppies
My-
that are
Yeah.
pals. No, I'm
Yes.
kidding.
Yeah, but my Disney princessing days tell me kids loved it. So
The last bit of news, of course, is April 7th through the 10th. That will be a landmark time, of course, because Star Wars Celebration is back. It's in London. It's unclear yet what will be shared or live streamed and what will not. But I bet you anything that all of the headlines and everything will be making their way, and we will definitely be talking about it after that weekend. So check that out. Look for this. Look for the live streams, and let's talk about it afterwards. Because I think there's already rumors that we're gonna get release dates for Ahsoka as well as Skeleton Crew. That we're going to get hopefully an announcement of a movie that might actually get made.
Do we know anybody who's going? I know
Not
one person who's
personally.
going, but it's not somebody I would want to come on the podcast.
I mean, I know there are a lot of other YouTube bloggers that are going, like, my number one source, of course, I will always speak the praises of Star Wars Explained. Those guys are awesome, and, I will be counting on them for any coverage.
I wonder if an Englishman in San Diego is going. I like him. He's awesome.
Let's ask around. Let's find out if we have anyone on the ground.
That's his name, Englishman. Let me call it.
If any of you out there are on the ground, let us know, and maybe you can be our local correspondent.
If any one of us was gonna go, it'd probably be Jason. You
If
go
I'm
on
gonna
so
go to
many
Europe,
adventures.
if I'm gonna go to Europe even for like a weekend, it's gonna be for more than a con. No offense. I mean, I'm gonna see like the big stuff and
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh right, and Star Wars
I mean,
is here.
you better see Florida, or not
Yeah.
Florida.
Dude,
It's
You
like
better see the
fly.
rest of.
I'm gonna stay in a building, leave. Oh,
Yeah.
Eiffel Tower. Oh God, London Bridge.
wish-
Oh, gee.
I wish I had gone to London and seen all the Harry Potter stuff before all the J.K. Rowling stuff came out, because now I'm like, fuck.
That I did do. Me and
You're
my
not
daughter.
just
went.
supporting her; you're supporting the careers of a whole lot of other creatives.
But she gets the royalties, and it makes me
Yeah.
upset.
It really
I
bothers
know.
me too. And then she's gonna fund anti-trans organizations with the royalties.
Ugh.
But we should move on. It's 6:51. We have 4 episodes to get
Oh my
through.
god, you guys.
So
Pablo.
let's get on. So so we're going to talk about the Bad Batch, episodes 13 and 14.
We'll just breeze through these.
Let's breeze through
Padu,
this.
padu,
Do you want to do a quick summary? Again?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh god.
Your summaries are fun.
You've been very
We
good
like
at this
them.
the last few episodes.
Have I? Okay. Let's
Pressure.
see. This might take longer than what we've got, but we've
think,
got
like, main points. Main
Okay.
points.
the meat. The meat.
The
We
meat.
want
Proud
the
of your
meat.
meat.
Yes.
Go, Tracy.
Okay.
Go.
So we're starting with Pabu.
Still have it. Oh, God.
Okay.
Please don't let that be trademarked.
Starting with Pabu.
Shirts are coming.
I don't eat meat, but I love it. Anyway, okay, so we've got Pabu, and so this like we're kind of phasing out a Sid, right? And we've got Fee, who is voiced by Wanda Sykes, and she's like, you know, you guys are good people. I can see this, that you guys are good people, and I think that Omega would really like respond well to hanging out with kids her own age. So she's like, I'm gonna take you to like my home base. So she takes them to this planet called Pabu, which is like this fantasy planet, and you're automatically like, well, this isn't gonna work. Something shit's gonna go down because this is way too perfect. And Fee and Tech have like some weird sexual tension. I don't know what's going on there, but she totally wants to jump his meat, if you know what I'm saying. And then, of course, like they have like tsunamis, and so this big tsunami is gonna come, and so
an earthquake, right?
Yeah,
right. They have, but they're used to the earthquakes. So anyway, but there's a big earthquake and there's a tsunami, and Omega and her little friend like barely get out of it, and the Bad Batch helps everybody to safety in the upper levels, and they're like, oh, you guys should stay. And I think that's pretty much the end of that one, right?
Yeah. Oh, and but before that, there's kind of a cool little like callback to the prequels where they're right before Fee takes them to Pabu, like they're doing a deal with an artifact, and the guy tries to kill Fee with the cocoon, like the little centipede looking.
That's right.
Oh, that's right.
That they tried to kill
in
Padme
the
with.
bar. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a really cool callback. I was like, hey, I didn't know the name of it until we had it on the notes here, but I was like, it's a centipede thing they tried to kill Padme with.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm training her to, you know, to negotiate. And she's like, I'm so impressed with Omega. She's amazing.
I thought it was really
power.
cute. I thought it was so cute that when they were all getting introduced to the citizens on Pabu, that like the mayor says something about like as a father to Hunter, and Hunter doesn't even deny it. It's just like, yeah, I'm her dad.
Well, so this is the interesting thing about this episode, right? I mean, basically, we're seeing kind of Hunter in particular, but the whole batch kind of reevaluate this kind of running theme that we've been seeing of is life on the run or the life of the soldier really all there is, or is there something beyond that, right? We get to see
especially
Omega,
for Omega.
Yeah, I mean, we get to see Omega actually like interact with, you know, kids her own age and kind of learn how to play and all that. And you know, even Hunter is noticing like even Wrecker is kind of thriving in this kind of relaxed environment.
Oh, in the next episode, Wrecker's living his best life.
Oh yeah,
He's
right.
so happy.
He's fully Uncle Rekka, you know.
He's like who's the like the one character in we don't talk about Bruno. What's that movie? Encanto. There's like the one strong chick who's like, yes, who's like throwing on donkeys and shit. Like that's like Wrecker to this island.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's just like, loving it.
Right. And so of course we've had like so many other episodes kind of talking about like these clone soldiers who all they know is how to be soldiers. They want to continue to be soldiers. They haven't even really been able to think past like what is their life after the war is done, after they stop being soldiers. And here we are, you know, this little slice of paradise as the batch is kind of discovering this. And you know, it's interesting. There's a great little interaction where you know, I think is it Fee talks to Tech and says, you know, about, you know, there's more education that she could be learning, you know, beyond just being, you know, your skills. And he's like, what? Wait, what other skills? There are other skills? I kind of enjoyed that little interaction where it's like they haven't even thought beyond, okay, you know, we're teaching you to fly, we're teaching you how to recognize ships. It's and it's also on the cusp of we've also seen some even in the beginning story beat of this episode, where we see also just how competent Omega has become, kind of filling the gaps in the batch.
Yeah.
You know, now that they've lost Echo and Crosshair, she is like, you know, she is trusted to just be a member of this squad, right?
Well, and they're running like a well-oiled machine. We see, and I think it was even the first episode of the season where they're running towards the ship, and Wrecker just pauses for a second to let her up, and then jumps up himself. And you know, it's like they just kind of know each other now at this point.
I forget. Is this also? Do we get a little tease of? Oh yeah, that's right. There is a little scene where we hint about Sid, who is going, "Where the hell are you guys?" Right?
Oh yeah. Was
Honestly, I forget about cinema.
Yeah, she sends a holographic transmission, and she's just basically complaining that I'm losing money. Where the hell are you guys?
was that Fee who was with them, and that's why she was like, hey, so
Oh,
what's up with
that's
that?
right.
And then I think that's when like Tech was like, we're reevaluating, and she's like, I think I might have a better setup for you.
Yeah.
I think that's also where Fee was like, okay, Brown Eyes, which is kind of a cute but funny thing, because it's like, okay, my boyfriend was just finally catching up on Mandalorian season 2. He's like been way out of it.
Oh.
Even though he's a major Star Wars fan. Like he watched Obi-Wan, he watched Boba Fett, and then he's like, but I wanted to wait to catch up on Mandalorian with you. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet, man. But I remember we just watched the last 2 episodes last night, and there's the takes off his helmet. We get graced with Pedro Pascal face 2 episodes in a row. But like there's the one with Bill Burr where he's like, oh yeah, like the like one of the commanders or captains, but I don't fucking know, one of the Imperials is interrogating him, and he's like, what's his name? And Bill Burr's like, we just called him Brown Eyes. And Pedro Pascal's like, yeah, you know what I mean? And so I thought it was kind of funny remembering that Fee calls Tech Brown Eyes, and I'm like just autistic enough, and I was like, was that flirting? I don't know.
But then later she like touches his arm,
and he like, and then like they go to walk off, and she goes in another direction, and he's like, but wait, and like looks after her.
Loves her.
And I was like,
he wants to hug her. He wants to kiss her. Or she wants to kiss him. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the way he like turned and looked after her, I was like, it was flirting. I read that right. Yay.
I don't think Tech always knows if he's reading it right either, to be honest.
Well, I mean, they did imply that he is autistic.
Yeah, he's a little on the spectrum. So I mean, basically the sense of this is, okay, we gotta give them basically a shire. The Bad Batch now has a shire. They have a little idyllic place, pocket of something.
Paradise, pocket
right?
of paradise,
pocket of paradise, sunshine. Which of course is going to set up what they'll probably have to either sacrifice or fight for. So let's get to tipping point now.
Oh, okay. Well, am I doing this one or is somebody else doing this one? What's going on?
Do it.
You did such a good job. Why mess with it?
Or is the vodka doing it? Let's see here. Okay. Okay. So it starts with some clones being walked into a prison ship, right? Their transport ship.
It's Hausa.
Yeah, we're like assuming it's going to be going to like Tantu, which is the cloning, or Tantus.
Yes.
Tantus, which is the cloning planet. And then suddenly Rex and Echo, which we haven't seen Echo in a while, they kind of swoop in and they board the ship and they rescue the clones, which and Fireball and Gregor are with them, which I know we saw Gregor in Rebels, right?
Yeah, I think this is the first time we've seen a young Gregor, actually.
I don't think we've ever seen. I don't remember Fireball though. I feel like Fireball is new to me.
Fireball, I feel like we've seen. I can't remember where.
The stormtroopers are outmatched, which it sets up a lot of things for later.
Obvi. And then we get Senator Chuchi back, which I feel like was flirting with Echo too, which I was like, okay, Echo and Tech, like let's go.
Everyone loves the nerds.
And meanwhile, we've got Crosshair, who's imprisoned on Tantus, and we've got Dr. Hemlock, which is like the most obvious name ever, and we've got this other female doctor who's voiced by Keisha Castle Hughes, who we were talking about earlier online, that like I adore her. You would know her from Whale Rider and one of the Sand Snakes in Game of Thrones.
She also played the Queen of Naboo in Revenge of the Sith, actually.
That's right. She was she played the Virgin Mary in that movie and then got pregnant right after, and so she got a lot of flack for that, but then she handled it really well, and so I've always just kind of followed her because I just like really respected how she handled everything. Anyway, I digress. How many tangents are we up to, Lexi?
I mean, I just live and breathe tangents, so I never track because they fuel me.
Anyway, but there's something about like she actually, like, she doesn't want to harm him, it feels like. So when he is able to get a hold of a blaster and he shoots everybody, he just kind of stuns her. And I feel like because Andy, I think you said this, like because it's a kind of a big name person that we're going to see her more. But one of the things that's most I feel like I took away from
so you're talking about, so at some point they're experimenting, they interrogate Crosshair.
but it's
Hemlock,
like they're torturing him.
Yeah, and Hemlock's like, basically, I need something that the Bad Batch has, and you need to tell me how to find them. And he says, I can't tell you where they are. So then they start torturing him, and it's at that point a very weak Crosshair kills the two troopers with her, and then stuns stuns what's her
totally
face?
annihilates.
But here's where I kind of connected, and I know we're going to talk about the Mandalorian next, but here's where I kind of connected a bunch of dots. Was they put him in a machine that kind of looks like what they did to Pershing in the Mandalorian.
Like the
but here's the thing though, is that they have these clone commandos who are guiding them around everywhere, who seem almost mindless, right? And we had the spy whose number was wiped. And so I feel like what they do with these clones is that they're wiping their memories and their numbers, and they're almost making them like these very dedicated, loyal drones whose only mission is to like protect them, right? Like they're almost like reprogramming them in a weird way. And I feel like that's what they want to do with Crosshair after they get the information, because he does have this special skill set.
Well, okay, so what he does is he escapes. He escapes. That he's able to make it to a computer, and then he does a communique. Of course, the Empire is able to shut off before he can finish the whole thing. But he says, what does he say? He says, plan.
It's a hide. He said, basically says hide and hide Omega.
Like
Plan 88.
Well, he says plan 88. That's what gets out, and then he tries to say hide Omega, or they're hunting Omega, and they don't get the second half of that. All they know is that it's plan 88. They say we're being hunted,
which is the second moral decision that we see him make, like, ever.
But because he's done it before, they don't know whether he's being truthful or if he's trying to lay a trap.
Well, because because for the Bad Batch, that's their first moral decision they've ever seen him make. They didn't see him shoot the lieutenant on behalf of the trooper who died. They didn't see that.
Synopsis.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, and then we go back to Pabu, and we basically see Wrecker living his best life, and everybody's trying to get them to stay. Oh, and Rex and Echo get to the planet, and they help him because he had downloaded information from the prison ship, because they wanted to know where all the clones were being taken so that they could go rescue them. And so Tech is trying to help Echo get that information. And that's pretty much where it ends, right?
I wonder if it's the setup for the Dark Troopers.
One more important thing. It's back on Wayland.
Okay.
Right.
Give us, Andy. Give us. You know what you want to talk about.
Okay, so it's that we get to see Tarkin again. Right.
Tarkin.
And Tarkin is basically talking to the scientist Hemlock. And let's see here.
Hemlock says, "Just give them to me. I'll handle them."
That's right. He's saying that they're having problems with, as more and more clones are starting to get, like, going like, what's up? Why are soldiers being pulled from the front lines and just being imprisoned? And basically Hemlock is saying, look, you can just give them to me, and I'll figure out what to do with them, because they're our property.
And Tarkin says, like, give me your proposal and I'll listen to it. Mm-hmm. Which Tarkin knows that there are informants within the clones, which is one of the reasons why he's willing to listen to this.
Right.
So the whole the kind of brainwashed, almost mind flayed looking clones that Tracy brought up, just having watched the tail end of season 2 of Mando again, kind of makes me wonder if that isn't where they're heading with the creation of the Dark Troopers, because I remember the thing that Moff Gideon says is, well, we've removed their ultimate flaw, the human inside of the suit.
Yeah, this is something that a lot of people have been speculating about, basically since Crosshair got 2 episodes when Crosshair kills his commanding officer and wakes up on Mount Tantus, is that are we kind of setting up the first generation Dark Troopers, which is pretty dark, right? Because it's like presumably they just in Legends, it was that you had these leftover clone troopers who were becoming disobedient, and they just started replacing parts of them with droid parts until eventually, they were nothing but droid. It was very RoboCop. And
very
of course,
Doctor Who. Very.
And
Doctor
of course,
Who.
all of these clone troopers who had trained to fight droids, the more they became droids themselves, the more the less will to live that they had. So yeah, it's potentially really interestingly dark.
Have you heard the theory that the female scientist is Pershing's mom that he couldn't save?
The female scientist. Wait, what?
Have you heard the theory that the female scientist is actually Pershing's mom?
Pershing's mom that he couldn't save.
What female scientist?
The one that he stunned,
Crosshair
Keisha Castle Hughes.
Yeah.
Oh, the assistant. Wait, is Pershing's mom?
That's like a fan theory. Is that she's Pershing's mom because he talks about when he's in the Senate.
Pershing's from Mandalorian.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he talks in the Senate about how his mom was also a scientist and everything, and how he couldn't save her.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just one of the fan theories out there. That would be like a deep cut, but
No, it's okay. I was because it's a completely out of universe reference. But does that whole Dark Trooper thing kind of feel very Cybermen to anybody? From
yes,
totally,
absolutely, 100%.
Okay. Great, not only me. Great, fantastic.
No. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that there was flirting going on. So
so a couple things that I oh wait, Rodney, did you have something you wanted to chime in?
Voice of Rod.
Yeah, connecting these dots, right? Yeah.
yes.
Oh yeah. Oh. Somehow this is the somehow.
Yeah, totally. So I gotta say, things of this episode, I loved that we get to see Hauser again. Hauser, who was introduced earlier in this season as a dissenting clone who had a conscience, and he gets rescued by and of course recruited, presumably by Rex and Echo. That's pretty cool. I also love seeing the tactics that they have, where clearly the troopers are completely outclassed by these clones who are just crack, have seen war and combat. They have their docking ship, which they have, a squadron of troops coming in from one side, and then they've got the other docking unit, which goes from the other side. So they're attacking from both ends on the ship, and they're just completely overwhelmed. I thought that was cool to see, and see clones at their best. Also, yeah, I think this is the first time we've seen Gregor, a young Gregor, and hearing the same clone trooper voice with the high pitched crack in his voice, which is funny to see that coming back. What other cool things that we saw? Omega getting flying lessons from Tech, and seems to be a bit of a natural, even if it gives Tech a heart attack. But she pulls off the Tech turn, which they call back to the racing episode, right? So it is. They've definitely connected the dots with this episode to a lot of different things throughout this whole season. So I mean, I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah, even bringing back Chuchi again, and all of these New Zealand accents. So I did look up. Yeah, I didn't realize it was the actress from Whale Rider, But I do wonder about that in terms of the way she seems to be a little bit more protective of Crosshair. If they are alluding to perhaps she is another female clone, and maybe she could play an adult Omega, right?
So Peter thinks that the assistant is Team Omega and Nala Se.
Yeah, it's curious, right? But I mean, she could play adult Omega in live action, even.
Ah.
Right? Could we see adult Omega?
She would
in
actually be kind of
Mandalorian
perfect.
Yeah, right. She's
that.
another Maori New Zealander. Yeah.
We know from Game of Thrones that she's a badass.
I mean, we know from Whale Riders she's.
Or she can play one on TV at least.
Yeah, always been a badass.
Yeah, so all interesting stuff. Who knows if any of that plays out or if I'm just reading too much into it.
We got like 15 minutes. We gotta get to Mandalorian.
Yeah. Anything else we want to talk about the Bad Batch? So of course we have 2 final episodes that are dropping together. So this Wednesday we will have a 2-episode season finale as all these come to pass. Any predictions? Any thoughts as we go into that?
Well, Crosshair's gonna rejoin the team, obvi.
I'm hoping I mean, it would make sense if there's a sacrifice play. I hope he rejoins as opposed to doing sacrifice play. All right.
Mando.
Let's move on. Okay. The Mandalorian. So let's do this.
Oh man.
Let's try and do a summary for both episodes at once, and then we'll talk about everything all together. Does that make sense?
Hi.
Sure.
I
Am I doing that, or are you doing
yes
that?
really readily, 'cause
Plot
I'm
points
helping
only.
you guys to
We'll come
summarize.
back and we'll talk about themes and cool things afterwards. But plot points only. Let's move through it.
Okay. Well, the convert is basically just a Pershing episode. He is he's currently in the New Republic, and he's he wants to join them, and it turns out that they are taking people in for rehabilitation, and they are but it's like they're dehumanizing them. And so they're assigned numbers. They live in special housing. It just so happens that one of the people who is in the special housing was Moff Gideon's kind of right-hand gal. So she kind of latches onto Pershing and starts to, he's kind of just doing this dull job, kind of like Cyril was doing after he got back in Andor. And so so she starts just sort of sweet talking him and saying like, oh, we can get you a mobile lab and and do all these things, and like your work is important, it doesn't have to be like morally ambiguous. So she takes him to this this yard where they're decommissioning all of these Empire ships, and they get a mobile lab, and as they leave, it kind of becomes obvious that it's been a setup, and she and they're they kind of jump in, the authorities do, and she kind of gives them this look like, yeah, I set this up. So that's like the very basic gist of it. I mean, in the meantime, they have ice cream and do all these, have lots of conversations and eat crackers and all that stuff. But that's like the basic gist.
Her little ice cream is like red like a Sith, so it's like kind of very foretelling.
Yeah. And then there wasn't a whole lot of Mando in this one. This was pretty much just a Pershing episode, kind of a setup for the sequels. But then the next episode, The Foundling, starts off with kids kind of.
So I'm going to jump in and just recap a couple things.
Okay.
So there are a couple of important things that happen on the Mando side. So we open the episode with the Mando having just been rescued by Bo-Katan from the living waters. She asks him, "Hey, you see anything down there?" He's like, "No, I didn't see anything, but I'm absolved. Yay!"
I thought that was the end
like-
of the episode before.
Nope, it was the beginning of this episode.
And she's like,
And-
anything
Oh.
alive? And he's like,
Yeah.
nah.
He's like, "No, I didn't see anything." So then she's like, "Okay, yeah, no, I didn't see anything either." So then they jump on the ship. They are headed back to her castle, and she's like, "All right, you're absolved. Hey, I'll
That
buy
was
you
this
dinner."
episode?
Yeah. She's like, "Hey, I'll buy you dinner." So they're gonna go back to the castle, and then they get attacked by a crap ton of interceptors.
Oh, the dog fight! The dog
A
fight!
crap ton of TIE
Oh, the
interceptors that show up.
Yes.
We've never seen this many TIE interceptors since Return of the Jedi, so that's a big deal. And they're like, "Whoa, this is more than Moff Gideon could have had. This is a lot." I'm like, where did they all come from? And of course, they're distracted. They take out all of the TIE interceptors because Mando's able to get to the N1 Starfighter, and we have the scared R5 droid, which is funny, and of course a lot of kick-ass flying from Bo-Katan as she knows all the canyons of this land really well. They take out all the interceptors, but not before a bunch of TIE bombers can show up and basically bomb her house. And she's like, "What the hell? I don't have a house anymore. Screw you guys. I'm gonna kill you all." And then he's like, "You're outgunned.
too
Come with
many."
me." So they
it-
hightail it over to the covert, and Bo-Katan is surprisingly welcomed in by the armorer because she
Children
has
of the
also
Watch, yeah.
bathed
I think it
in the
tells you-
waters, and she also has not removed her helmet yet. So that was a
Cool.
good little kind of teaser.
How did I leave that out?
I think it tells you.
Okay.
I think it tells you.
Well,
how
let's move
thirsty
on.
the
Let's move
covert-
on. Time. Move on.
I think it tells you how thirsty the covert is for members. They're like, I mean, like you didn't intend to, but like technically you did the thing, so you're one of us if you want to be.
Well, it's like it's very. If you I'll talk about this later, but I have a thing about that. Anyway, okay, so the next episode is called The Foundling, and it starts off with a bunch of Mandalorian kids training, and which I couldn't figure out why the little kid looked really familiar, so I looked him up, and that's actually Jimmy Kimmel's nephew.
Right.
Ragnar is Jimmy Kimmel, so that's why they look exactly the same, which is really weird. Anyway, he gets kidnapped by this. So he's training with Grogu, and Grogu is like really timid about it, and Mando's like, "Hey, I know what you can do. Just go ahead." And so he like does his little like flips and like pew pew pew, and like gets him and wins the battle. But then this like crazy like bat bird creature comes out of nowhere and takes Ragnar, and all the Mandalorians try to like jetpack their way to him, but the jetpacks are really only for short distances instead of long distances, so they can't make it. So then Bo-Katan gets in her plane and she chases after, and she sees where the nest is. So then because she like found all this, she gets put in charge of a mission to like go get the kid. So all the Mandalorians, like badasses, are like, "Okay, we're gonna go get the kid," and it turns out that there's baby bat bird things, and they feed the kids alive because the baby bat bird things need to learn how to hunt. And so they're able to like get Ragnar, but then there's like this crazy like amazing battle in the sky with all their jetpacks, and it was like super super cool. But in the end, the little alligator guy from like the first episode gets the mama bird, and that was like I was
There's
like, oh my
always a bigger
god,
fish.
I would really rather. I was like, what's gonna happen to the baby bird bats?
what
And I
I
was
said. I was like, those-
freaking out.
I said the baby wyverns are gonna die because they reminded me of wyverns. It's like technical, okay, dragon lore, which has no place here, but like, okay, so it's a dragon if it has 4 legs and wings, and if it has 2 legs and then like wing arms, it's a wyvern.
Oh, yep. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
But anyway, but you're not wrong about what you call it. But like I was like, oh, those are wyverns, space wyvern. So, yeah, like my thought also, Tracy, I was like, no, the baby wyverns, they do not deserve to
Fuck the
die.
kid. What about the babies?
Right. So I also thought it was interesting that they gave Paz Vizsla's son a Nordic name, Ragnar.
Yeah, Ragnar.
That's so
Yeah.
Nordic.
Like short for Ragnarok.
I mean, I'm a good
So you will be
Norwegian
the
girl,
end of
so I
times.
appreciated it, right? But anyway, okay, so plot points. So then they're reunited and it's great, but then they bring the baby bat birds back, and they're gonna obviously train them to learn how to ride them and everything, and it's gonna be okay. But then we see
Really important thing. So because they're off doing that hunt, we get Grogu left alone with the armorer, and the armorer kind of expounds kind of all of this wisdom of the way, and how the armor is like, is an allegory for the people, and we start as ore and we become something more refined, and in the forge we discover things about ourselves, and as
They're basically dwarves.
as Grogu is hypnotized watching her
Mexican
hammer
space guards.
on this Beskar that she's making an armor piece for him, he has a flashback. And what does he have a flashback to?
Yes! I had to have him as the image for our. There were so many other images I could have picked from 4 episodes, but I was like, no, I have to pick the best one. So
I don't know if you get like when the
Okay, wait, we
prequels
haven't said
came-
what it was.
Okay. So Grogu basically has flashbacks of when he's being rushed out of the Jedi Training Center, right? And everybody was debating about who gets him out. Is it the librarian? Is it Jocasta or whatever? Is it like, who is it? And it turns out that all these Jedi basically sacrifice themselves to get Grogu to this elevator door thing, and the Jedi that appears when the doors open is Ahmed Best, who was, of course, played Jar Jar Binks and received death threats for this, and had to go to therapy, and like was suicidal because of all these death threats that he got. And he is the Jedi that saved Grogu, and
they made him badass.
And it was amazing. It was very emotional. He's like in basically this motorcycle with a sidecar. They get to this landing pad, and there is a ship from Naboo, like basically a Naboo yacht. And this crew comes out, and they're like, "Where's the other Jedi?" And he's like, "There are no other Jedi." And he gets in, and he takes off with Grogu, and it's for like for people who are very like anti-bullying, and it was a big moment. And I feel like in like genuinely kind Star Wars fans, not the nobody hates Star Wars like Star Wars fans like the people who like empathize with the fact that he really went through it, by playing Jar Jar Binks, which I mean, he was like the first like stop motion actor to do that, which now we have like Avengers and all these motion capture. Thank you. We've got like Avatar and Avengers and like all these characters that are doing this, and he was the first one to do this. And and now, is Jar Jar Binks my favorite character? Absolutely not. But that doesn't mean the sequels did this too, with like Daisy and Rose and like all these characters where people basically got bullied so badly that they just sort of like dropped off social media, off of like public life. And to me that's just so unacceptable. So it was a little bit of redemption, and I was all about it.
I love that they made the character.
Jason, we haven't heard from you at all, so
because I didn't watch any of the Bad Batch, so I apologize. I'm bad Star Wars fan, but yes.
So why don't you jump in here, man? What were your impressions from these 2 episodes?
Oh, Grogu was the first contestant on the Jedi Temple Challenge. So it took me a minute, like when that came up, like to realize who that was, because I kind of did a double take, and then I was like, oh, good for him. I'm like, there's some redemption there, like to like what Tracy was saying, against all that bullying bullshit. I mean, it was just nice that we got that. But I mean, no, I thought my biggest complaint of that last episode was it's too short. I feel like
it was like a half an hour.
Yeah, it was 32 minutes, and the other ones were far more meaty. Proud of your meat.
Proud of
and but it's a lot happened, and it was good. But I just was like, that was my big problem with a lot of the other episodes from the other seasons. It's just, you get into them and they're over. And but yeah, no, I'm digging this season. I mean, it's my favorite of the batch, and I just
Now, did you watch any of the Jedi? What is it called? The Jedi
Temple Challenge.
Jedi Temple Challenge.
I watched the first episode with my daughter, and I don't know. I mean, like, it's just very. Forgive me for saying it's
Double Dare, right?
Yeah,
it's Jedi Double Dare. It's very low budget. It's like
Double Dare meets Guts.
Yeah. I mean, but there's no slime, but they're crawling past like fake, trees, and suspension bridges, and it's all like in one set that's like the size of a small garage, and it's like quick, get into the temple, quick, get past the trees. It's like, yeah, but they're 2 feet apart. Where am I supposed to go? And but I mean, I think it's good for younger kids, but I mean, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, yeah, Double Dare, or what are some of the, like, Temple
Guts.
of the Temple of the.
Oh yeah, the Nickelodeon,
the Lost Temple, like all of those. It's like, I mean, those were targeted at, like, preteen and.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm not the target.
I wanted to be on Guts so bad.
I applaud them for doing it, and I thought it's well done for what it is. But I mean,
the real cool thing here, though, right, is that here's this character that Ahmed Best kind of created for that show and really put a lot of thought into it, right? Because he was like, okay, this is something that kids are gonna see. This should be a nurturing character. This should be, and for that character to just be kind of like, okay, it was a host. It was, kind of a throwaway, but he was always
canon.
And now he's canon.
Yeah.
And Kelleran Beck now is this icon of nurturing younglings, right?
Yep.
And there were even, like, if you see some of the interviews with him about how thoughtful he was about about creating this character, quote unquote, the Sabered Hand, which is the title of this. He's kind of talking about how he's also a very accomplished fight director in and of his own right as well. In fact, we were both nominated against each other for one of the local LA Theater Awards.
Hey.
But he has talked about how when they were doing this whole scene, like the style of saber fighting that he is like a master of is particularly the blocking blaster bolts and flinging them back at the or being able to the redirection. And
so all the people who criticize the fight, he can just be like, ha ha ha, bitch.
Well, and it is. It's like, it's this idea of kind of approaching that idea of redirecting blaster bolts almost as kind of a Tai Chi Sao type of thing, of redirecting energy, right? He's also talked about this idea of how he's acting it, how he's playing it, is that he sees the Force in waves. So if, like, the idea is that you surf the Force, of you kind of sense the waves that are coming, and so he kind of knows what his opponents are doing.
Ooh, I like that.
That's why
goosebumps.
he's got the great meet the parents stare.
Yeah.
Meets the parents. Meets the parents. Wait, what? No,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Well, Jar Jar was supposed to be such a thing for the kids, and it turned into such a joke. And so for him to be like the person who saves the thing that actually was successful at becoming the thing for the kids, just felt like a full circle moment.
So here is my, I don't know if it's a wish list or a prediction, but knowing that Kelleran Beck flies off in a Naboo yacht, knowing that he was
that Jar Jar sent it. That Jar Jar sent the yacht.
right?
Yes.
That's all
Would
I'm
that
Yes!
not be such a cool thing to have
What
the
are you
Kelleran Beck's contact with the Naboo
Talk to
is, and you have this redemptive story
Totally.
that the one thing that Jar Jar was able to do is rescue this one youngling.
This morning, my boyfriend goes, well, he's like making tea. He's like, what if Jar Jar sent the yacht? Because it was
Right.
from Naboo. And I was like, wait, I totally missed that, man. He was like,
Yeah.
he would have been one of the only contacts with authority enough to send it.
Yes.
So
And
what if Jar
and
Jar
Ahmed-
saved Jar Jar?
My microphone fell.
And,
You
and
guys,
Ahmed
I
Best
got
would
so
be beside
excited.
himself.
Oh.
Ah.
It's gonna be some really complicated split screen.
What if the person who saves everything is Jar Jar Binks, you guys?
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole theory about how he's actually like a Sith apprentice, like what
What, using like the drunken fist style? Yeah.
There you go.
That would be
So, yeah, there was a lot of really crazy things in these episodes, and this one, of course, as you mentioned, super short. The thing that is kind of mind blowing to me, right? There's been a lot of kind of mind blowing things. The revealing the mythosaur, that whole episode kind of around Pershing's, which was such a different tone from the Mandalorian, right? Almost more, everyone was
Or
kind of saying
Andor, yeah.
this feels more like Andor.
Yeah.
Also kind of funny how we get to see the that mountain peak twice. Because we saw it in that episode, and then we also saw
They're
saw it
connecting dots.
Yeah.
Did we see it in Bad Batch, or where did we see it again?
It's mentioned in the High Republic books very specifically as
Well,
well.
I mean, but
We-
like recently, we saw
We
it.
saw
again,
it in
right?
Pershing and the whatchamacallit chick with their ice cream. They were
But
right there.
we saw it again recently, didn't we?
It was in Bad Batch.
In
Wasn't
Bad
it in
Batch,
Bad
right.
Batch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in Bad Batch.
For that matter, that Pershing episode, it begins with him doing a presentation talking about how his scientific research was twisted and how he got into cloning because of his good
Of his
intentions of
mama.
wanting to save his mother.
Yeah.
And of course but he's doing that presentation in the same opera house from Revenge of the Sith, where
Right.
Emperor Palpatine says, "Not from a Jedi."
We missed a very important plot point though, just like you pointed out in the last one, is at the end of the episode, Bo-Katan loses one of her shoulder shields, right?
Yes.
And she goes
Aldrin.
in, and the armor's like, you need a repair. Let me go in. And she confides in the armor that she saw the mythosaur. And
mythosaur.
at first it seems like the armor is like, well, yes, because you're walking the path of the way. And then she's like, no, but it was real. And she's like, this is the way.
Yeah.
Like
And it's vague as to whether or not she believes her, or if just her
right.
devoutness just accepts it, through faith, right?
It felt like show don't tell, kind of the same way she told Din Djarin when he's like, no, like I've got evidence that perhaps Mandalore is not toxic to walk upon, and she's like, this is the way, like show don't tell. All right, bring me proof, honey.
I've been wanting to see the armorer take a heel turn at some point this season, right? But I wonder, because one of the little details, one of the little hints is when you watch that whole Star Wars logo at the beginning where you see the lightsaber blade colors kind of passing over the different
the
masks
armor.
and droid heads.
Yeah.
The armor is still lit in blue as opposed to all the other evil characters that are lit in red.
Mhm.
The armor's not evil though.
I keep expecting the Children of the Watch to make a heel turn, because it's like they still kind of represent like the extremist zealots.
So
right?
I saw
Yeah.
hopefully you guys can hear Rodney.
Yeah. Just
Rodney's
repeating what
talking.
Rodney said, but also, yeah, I mean, kind of what I'm feeling is like there's a continuing theme as we talk about the way, and particularly the Children of the Watch, and there's a dogmaticism, or kind of showing continued ways when adherence to dogma holds them back, right? Like we're all expecting, right, as Grogu continues to learn more, that there's going to be a point where they're like, okay, put a helmet on him, or do something like you've defeated this beast that you made sleep, now you got to kill it, and Grogu's not going to want to do that, and Din's going to have to be forced to decide, maybe the way is not for my kid.
Yeah.
So
How are they gonna fit a helmet over those ears?
it has to have ear holes.
Yes.
There's all, I watched a video, and if you go to YouTube and YouTube it, you could probably find it. But I watched a whole video about how the Children of the Way
Right.
is essentially Orthodox Judaism.
Yeah.
Like down to the way they talk about things, and like the cleansing waters, and like the helmets versus like wearing a yarmulke or a scarf or a wig. Like, I mean, it's basically like somebody on the writing staff was raised an Orthodox Jew, and like this is what they're pulling from for the Children of the Way.
Yeah, even some of the ritualistic sayings, like this is the way, are pulled from sayings
Yeah.
that are part of worship, but usually in Hebrew.
But we're talking about like the super Orthodox
Yeah.
Judaism. We're not talking about other forms
Also,
of Judaism.
Can we also talk about like Mama Bo, right? Like, like I love the little thing where like, okay, she's like, okay, I'm gonna strap on the darts on you, and she's like, don't worry, my dad was rough on me too. You're okay. It was like Mama Bo.
The mummy and Zaddy.
It also explains why like he trusted her with like leaving Grogu in her ship while they were under attack. You know, he's like, all right,
I'm totally shipping them.
He's got him.
Oh my God. Can you imagine like the amazing little Mandalorian babies they would have?
Oh.
Spin-off.
I want to have a baby.
They have red hair? No, it's recessive, but
they would have auburn hair.
Yeah, I mean, because okay, we've got Bo, who's seen the mythosaur, and Din, who has the.
Did you know that Bo-Katan was named after Dave Filoni's wife's cat? I'm just gonna throw that out there. Okay,
I did not.
Also Bo-Katan doubling down, or like, I mean, for her doubling, she's like, all right, I'm gonna go into this beast tamer thing where she brings home the little baby wyvern creatures after seeing the mythosaur, and it's like, I feel like she's almost laying foundations for herself to be like, I'm the beast tamer.
So this was another really interesting moment. I'll bring Jason into this conversation a little bit more, too, right?
Oh, it's all good. I'm loving it. It's like watching you guys.
So
I have another thing to say, you guys.
The whole bit when they're on the hunt, right? And that moment where they're like, okay, how do we eat when we have the helmet?
Like you
right?
find a place and you eat. You take
but Paz Vizsla of all people, he's like, what does he say?
He says, this is your mission. You get to stay by the fire.
The leader, yeah.
And so she's like, okay, she gets to be by the fire. And it's such an interesting scene because we get to see lovely Katie Sackhoff take off her helmet, and it's like, okay, you are now honored and respected as a leader of this, but also it's like you're kind of stuck alone by the fire.
Yeah.
It also makes you the most vulnerable target, but then that also really fits with the Mandalorian ethos of like, okay, well, if you're going to be a leader, you got to be tough. So of course, the person who's the toughest is going to be the one who's the biggest target. You don't lead from behind, you lead from the front.
That's another thing too, like just from a performance standpoint. I mean, now that everyone's pretty much helmeted all the time, especially since Katie's been more exposed, as it were, than Pedro has, but still, I mean, like, it seems to me like this season, especially, like, is where more actors would be kind of like impaired by that armor on them. Like, I think they finally have now found the power in it.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing more of that emotion come across with everyone, the armor too. I mean, it's just like everyone's got a distinct personality now, and you don't have to see their face. And I think that's really cool. So
one of the meetings,
even like when she does like the little head turn and she looks towards the mythosaur skull, and it's like,
it's just little ticks like that.
One of the meanings of Ragnar is warrior. So fitting Nordic name for a Mandalorian boy.
That's Favreau's kid, right? I mean, not in real life, but I mean that's Favreau playing. Yeah.
Well, actually, it's not Favreau anymore.
It isn't? Oh.
He did the voice in season 1.
Right.
But it seems like in the credits, they're now crediting the physical performer.
Oh, okay.
For the voice now.
I missed
that. So
that's
another thing where I'm like, okay, so then are they going to unmask everyone eventually?
And then it is Favreau.
Which could fit into the fact that, like, okay, the way is not so set in stone.
And Bo will probably do that. Come on, guys.
Which would fit with the armors, like the way is not set in stone. We mold ourselves like Beskar.
The better to see the mythosaur, my dear.
And so, every season of The Mandalorian, Din Djarin removes his helmet at least once, right? So like he's got to do it at some point. What is it? What will be the situation? It's okay. We only have like
to make out with Bo-Katan.
Exactly.
I've been trying so hard not to make a meat joke about anyway.
Well, this is the perfect time to make it. It's just like full circle.
Okay, so I was totally like texting at like 2 a.m. with my friend after I watched the 2 episodes ago, and I'm like, was it
Jason?
It was Jason, and we were like, do Mandalorians smash? And then I'm like, maybe they clang.
How do you think they got Ragnar, dude? They totally clanged me.
They clang. Hi.
And everyone knows when they're doing it because it's just like fucking gongs all the time.
Yes. It sounds like the what is it? The time grappler.
Yeah. They're like sitting there sleeping, like, oh, he's getting busy.
The rules don't apply to that head.
Mandalorian teenagers trying to play it out. Oh, that was the armor. That wasn't us.
Yeah. I was getting Beskar metal made. Yeah, sure you were. Pal.
Just make sure you use a helmet.
There's no oral sex though. It's all just like missionary stuff.
or alternatively, oral sex is a really big thing because
a lot of scissoring.
It's just like you just like barely lift your helmet.
Oh man, we're gonna get some fan art now. Go on now.
No, we won't. We talk about it every week and we never do.
I know that's true. Well, maybe this time now they'll really come out. Yeah.
I
mean, is the rules like they can't take off their helmet? They can't see the face because if they can't see the face,
there's gotta be.
There's ways around
Maybe they put like a
it.
paper bag over their heads.
I mean, there's gotta be a rule of like, okay, if you are.
What about like a sack with a hole, like a glory hole?
The Mormon, like they have Mormon oral sex.
Honestly, I really
paper bags expanding and expanding.
There's probably already fan art like this already.
Yeah, it's the same fans who have put Sam and Dean, doing it in the Impala.
Yes.
Yeah, so, Isn't it Rule 34? Is it Rule 34?
Dean and Castiel.
Mm-hmm. Execute Order 69.
Nice. There we go.
Oh, that went off the rails. Damn.
No, it's okay. There's definitely Rule 34. Rule 34 of the internet says that there's definitely Mando porno.
Oh, I see. I just always think whenever I hear anything about the internet, I think the internet is for porn. The internet is for porn.
Classic. Your dick and double click. Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Oh, my God. Okay, you guys, we have 1 minute.
Okay.
I'm so glad we spent on Mando porn.
One thing I do want to mention, I find it really interesting, right? So this was episode 4, right? And there's a lot of speculation about episode 5. Like people are talking like episode 5 is a game changer, but it is interesting to me that we are 4 episodes into an 8-episode series, and we still have no MacGuffin, no big bad. Like there is like and
because it all happened in the book of Boba Fett.
Well, there's whispers of maybe Moff Gideon still being a big bad because
but nothing is like
escaped,
named.
right?
Usually by this time we kind of know where the climax is headed. But at this point, climax.
That's what Mando said.
But I mean, we have like seen like there is a larger fleet of ships, but we haven't like named Thrawn yet. We've seen like the Captain Seaweed, who is out there hunting, and we know that the Captain Seaweed is going to probably come down on Navarro, right? Because they're probably going to clamp down on Navarro at some point. We know we're supposed to see Carson Teva at some point. And, they even hinted at the idea that Moff Gideon may have escaped or might be in a mind flare or might, we don't know what's happened. We don't know what's up with his, what's her, what they gave her a name. What's her name?
Oh, God. What is it?
Whatever. The communications.
Elia Kane.
Elia Kane. We don't know what her deal is. Like, who is she working for? Is she working for Moff Gideon? Is she working for Thrawn? Is she
gender non-conforming?
Yeah.
I love
Which,
her.
I gotta say, I just find
them.
hot, but that's why I'm single,
If
and
want to
then
pull off that short hair, I was like, can I do that for my next haircut?
oh, and that jawline. Also, yeah, what's up with Pershing's? Like, is Pershing's going to is he gonna go insane? Is his mind wiped? Is he like gone now? Or is he like
I have
gonna
a
come
friend
back
who
more
looks
evil?
exactly like Pershing. It's amazing.
On a side note, there was a really beautiful little social media post that he posted a photo because his son got to be an extra, and it was like like when he tucked him in the bed and the kid was like, oh yeah, I've been to Coruscant, it's real. And I was like, oh, this is so cute.
I want to be a mom. You guys make me a mom. Show me the meat. Give me a
Make me a mom.
Tracy wants to clang.
I mean, not like literally, but you know, figuratively.
So there's a lot at stake. There's a lot of things that are set up, and it's interesting because I mean, yeah, we haven't really, we don't know where this season's really going yet. It has not gone the way, like I was expecting the whole thing to get the baptized in the living waters to be like the MacGuffin at the end of the season. We've moved well past that now. So in some ways it's moved faster than I was expecting. So I don't know where we're going.
You guys, Chuck has gone into the comments because we're over time.
Okay.
We should do some crosstalk.
Yeah. Any last thoughts before we move on?
I think you should call any Mandalorian sex the Beskar Bang.
The best garbage.
Best scar
Lame.
ever.
Beskar ever.
Oh, I'm so making my boyfriend say that.
The Beskar Bang.
Do the best car bang.
I'm
What was
sorry,
that?
boy. I'm sorry, boyfriend.
I heard something about how like when you switch to doggy style, you should yell beast mode. And I was like, can you please do that? And he was like, no. Absolutely not.
he just gets up and leaves the room.
So welcome to our chaos.
Hi. It's
We
been a
have
lot
Jenny,
of talk about
Chuck.
meat.
Beskar Bang, guys. Beskar Bang. Thoughts? Go.
What do you think the Mandalorian's favorite position is now?
Oh, definitely doggy style. Definitely beast mode.
Yeah, they can't see each other's faces no matter what that was.
Is it Ronto style?
Best gar mode.
Pronto style.
Or what was it? Mastiff style?
We're not even letting Chuck speak, you guys. Come on.
Oh God! What did I come into? I don't know.
That's what they said.
Oh, just keeps on coming.
I
Oh,
have
see
a
what I did?
I have a tendency to do this to people. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I have a tendency to make the sexual innuendos go a
We
little.
broke
apeshit.
Andy. Andy's broken.
Oh God! Now all I can think about is like, what is the Mandalorian's favorite sexual position? Like I'm on the East Coast, so it's later at night. So now I've got to go to bed with this thought in my head and wake up. And
You're
think,
welcome.
I mean, what is the way?
Thank you.
Let us know. Let us know what you dream about.
What is the way?
Hey, I'm gonna say doggy style.
Thank you. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. It's the easiest without taking the helmet off, right?
Coming off, they can do the chest armor on and
I was
everything.
thinking like reverse.
There's like no
cowgirl.
oral expected.
Like reverse cowgirl. She's like turned so they don't have to see each other's faces.
First cowgirl is not that good of a position, though. Let's just be honest.
Just hold the armor
It's
ring.
a lot of
Just to hold on the armor, so she can't
It's-
bouncing.
work
She,
to payoff.
That's
Work
like a
to pay
porn
off.
position, not a real position.
This is amazing. Amazing. Oh, Rodney's chiming in.
Rodney just asked if mounting the mythosaur takes on a whole new meaning, you guys.
Oh God!
Yeah.
I mean,
would say yes.
maybe they have a whole different.
Does the word armor mean something different now? Like,
Is that
Mandalorian
Yeah.
armor.
They are protected.
Keep your helmet on.
Keep the helmet on. Not taking the helmet off. Like
Is that considered safe sex?
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. Right. The armor, the helmet.
No more little Grogu's.
Is it still the way if you take the helmet off but put a condom, Star Wars? You put a condom
Different
on?
Is it
heads.
best scar?
We've established it's different heads.
This is the best card condom.
Are the best condoms ribbed for her pleasure?
Right.
Oh!
Right.
At least the title of this episode now served a purpose. So yes, pound in the meat, boys and girls. Pound in the meat.
It brings a new meaning to the dark saber.
Yeah.
Charles wins.
Are-
Yes.
Is
You
both
guys, you
Jen
made my
worthy?
You made
Is
my tribble
Bo-Katan
go off.
worthy of wielding the
I made your
dark
triple
saber?
off by clapping.
My tribble is literally going right now. It's like
Tribble likes this talk, man. All of the
Mando.
fandoms are coming together.
my tribble.
Oh god.
Mando style.
So what are you guys talking about today?
Not as good as what you guys are talking about. That's
Oh no.
I think
Just
we
add some vodka and you'll be good to go.
Is all it takes.
all it takes.
It brings in
All
the
it takes.
College.
shot first.
Hey, actually, have you
you're
guys
off right here.
have you guys actually been watching any of Star Trek Picard at all?
I'm almost caught up. I think the last episode of what the last one that they've done. So yes, I am caught up.
You saw the Geordi episode.
I think that's the one that I did not
That's
see.
the one. You did not? Okay, yeah.
Haven't
That's the
seen
last
it.
one, yeah.
And like Star Trek: The Next Generation is my favorite in the entire franchise. So going back to Picard, it's super exciting for me.
I gotta say, it is kind of amazing to me, like how much they have tied in, because they definitely have been doing a lot of payoffs in terms of like paying off characters and story plots that that never got a conclusion in their seven seasons, but they've also kind of tied it in with other Next Generation shows. There are plot threads that are tying
From Deep
in stuff
Space
from
Nine?
DS9,
From Voyager?
from Voyager,
And old Star Trek movies.
and old Star Trek
Well, they
movies.
did
Even.
that a
You
little
guys, I
bit
just
in season
nerdgasmed.
two, remember?
Oh, I
In
did.
season- In
All
season
over.
2, when they did the time travel, they talked about how whatchamacallit, that they used the time travel to go back in time. So they did a little bit of that in season 2 as well for Picard.
Yeah.
But to this extent though is like
Not
this
to-
is pretty next level.
Yeah.
And I really kind of love how, like, I mean, all of these have been, it's all been really well acted. And
Andy, we gotta do a
and
Star
all
Trek
of it-
podcast. We gotta do
all
a
of
Star
it
Trek
has
podcast.
been, like, super character driven, right? It's not like
Crazy,
Easter
that's your
egg just
jam.
for Easter egg's sake.
I
Like
don't
it
know.
all serves the story, which has been great.
Tracy
When-
can go on for at least 8 minutes on a Star Trek. I know for a fact.
When Worf popped up at that little club or bar, I was like, I love that scene.
Oh my god, that like the warrior monk shit does
Yeah.
it for
Yes,
me.
Worf with his
Does
sunglasses
it for me.
on
And he
up
has
there,
been
and
hysterical,
yes.
man. He has had
God.
so many zingers
Mm.
that,
Yeah.
like, totally true to his character,
Yep.
but like hysterical.
My stepdad helped create the Klingon martial arts.
Oh, no
really?
way!
So
Did.
Cool.
not years ago, a little while ago, I thought that they should have a Klingon series. Should be a
They
So
talked
has
about it.
Michael Dorn for the last 30
Yeah.
years.
all the houses, all the houses, and I think the soundtrack should be based off of 90s hip hop music. That is like my
Yeah.
ultimate dream to have one day.
Dun, 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 dun.
Like Wu-Tang, like Wu-Tang Clan ain't
Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't like, and that's like the theme of a house, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, they talked
Grown
about that
is
for a while.
love. Dun, dun,
Paramount
dun,
Plus,
dun,
you're
dun,
welcome.
dun,
Make sure you get the
dun.
royalties on that.
But there's still also there is some spin-off talk too, because I
Living
mean
in
this
the
has been
Klingon
landing with fans really well.
paradise.
Terry Matalas has done a great job. If you have not started on that, it is totally worthwhile.
And I was today years old when I realized that I could find that on Amazon Prime, so I don't need to not be caught up.
You do have to pay for it though on Amazon Prime.
Well, you know what? I'll figure that out.
Yeah.
It's, I have access to it. At least I already have that subscription. Oh, Hera, you want it inside?
Yeah,
My
I'm
dog.
definitely the one that didn't like Picard season 1. I kind of like season 2, so I'm like, I really want to get into season 3. Randy's trying to convince me I should get into season.
Well, it's on the
it's
binge
totally
worthy
worthwhile.
list.
It
Totally
is.
worthwhile.
It's
So
on the binge
fucking
worthy
good.
list, so.
It really is.
And it's like, it's even kind of the thing where, like, how in season 1 and season 2 you could kind of tell when Patrick Stewart was like smoking the butt a little bit. Like he was like slow on the delivery. Like he was like, you could tell he was like struggling with techno babble and stuff. And it's like either it's because he's with these scene partners that know him so well, he's so on the ball. Like I never questioned that he knows where
I have
he
so
is.
many stories about the first 2 seasons of TNG because my stepdad will have to. We gotta do a podcast, you guys.
We'll do
I'll watch.
When you're talking TNG, let me know. I love Star
Lexi, I'm with you, Lex.
We should probably wrap and let you guys do your show. What are you guys talking about today?
Oh, we're talking about Cinderella, Harley Quinn.
Are you talking about the Brandy Cinderella?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
With,
They
uh,
have
with-
not
with,
aged a fucking day. They both look
with
so good.
Ricardo. Oh gosh, what's his name? Filipino dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
We're
pretty
talking
exciting.
King Charming.
Yeah.
King Charming.
She's coming back as Cinderella, is she not? For Descendants?
Yeah, from
Yeah.
Descendants.
Her daughter, right? They're going to have something off of her daughter, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, like
Right
one of the
somewhere.
Descendants kids is her kid.
Yeah, because
Ricardo
for some
Cruz.
reason I thought like they were
Ricardo
bringing back Brandy as Cinderella. I'm like, wait a minute. like, I'm like, she should still be living with the evil stepmothers. Brandy's 40 years old. Like,
So the thing for me personally, I am a bit chagrined to see that they're now, they're done coming for me, and now they're coming after my niece. Because between Brandy Cinderella and like the Power Rangers reunion movie, and
man.
like there is so much like
Wait, is Amy Jo
millennial.
Johnson going to be involved in that?
She is
No.
not. She is absolutely. She's like,
Typical.
hey,
Typical.
I am 50. I am not wearing spandex.
Well, we lost the Green Ranger
Yeah.
and the Red Ranger, right?
Yeah. So it's Black Ranger and Blue Ranger.
Can I just tell you?
Billy and Zach.
Okay, so the 2 guys who play Skull and Bones in the original Power Rangers, it just so happens that one of my dear friends went to school with Jason Narvey, whose birthday is today, coincidentally.
Happy birthday.
But so they came on Pod Thingy, and at a convention up in Ventura County, I was hanging out with my friend John, and it ended up that we were in this bar with all the Power Rangers, and the Black Ranger, his face was glued to my, like, he just kept hugging me, and his face was just like right here, and he's just like, I literally was glued to the Black Ranger for like an hour, and I was just like, I can just live here now. It's cool.
Go Power Ranger.
He's like the
It's
nicest guy,
morphin'
but very
time.
like very touchy feely, like kind of like Doug
Or
E.
me.
Jones, just like very like visceral. Just and you're like,
So-
okay, that's okay.
On that note, let's wrap it up. Let them have their show. Thank you for joining us here on Monday nights. We'll be back next week. We're going to be talking about the last 2 episodes of The Bad Batch, which are dropping tomorrow night
Wednesday.
at midnight, as well as the next episode, episode 5 of
Here.
The Mandalorians. Come on back, and we'll continue to talk about Mandalorians clanging. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're here on the Geekish Network, on YouTube and Facebook. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for joining us here every Monday night. Also, check out the schedules for the other great shows like Geek Beast right after us. Thanks on the flight tech to Rodney, and we are the Pod Squadron. Please check out all of our content on podsquadron.com. Like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and YouTube. For podcast subscriptions, you can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. I am the Chinese Pirate, at Chinese Pirate _ on all platforms.
I'm Tracy, the hot nerd girl. I'll just add one last thing, that the Power Rangers all saved me from a creepy guy at the bar, and it was pretty fucking amazing.
Nice.
Nice.
Lexi, Pharaoh Geek Aesthetic, and Hera making a cameo way too late for the Star Wars show. Here she is.
Jason, BeyondForever.net, Beyond Forever Studios, everywhere else. Hashtag Beskar Bang.
And again, yes, we will be back next Monday. Also, we'll also get ready for like things predictions for Star Wars Celebration. What we think is going to get announced. Always return to base, course laid in, and prepare to make the jump to light speed on my mark. And remember, the truths we cling to depend on your own point of view. Only the Sith deal in absolutes. Good night.
I want meat. Not to eat though. I don't want to eat meat. I'm a pescatarian. I just like other kinds of meat.
And
You
then
like fish.
me.
Man, fish.